Okay, it's 4 in the morning, and I just woke up after having a dream that I think really relates to the phenomenon. First of all, I don't really dream. That happened after meditation a long time ago, end of the 1990s. And I've dreamed so infrequently, maybe sometimes not for years, but recently, once every couple of months or so. So I just woke up and I woke up with chicken skin all over my legs, both of my legs, which as far as I remember never happened in my life. Uh, I've been thinking a lot about the phenomenon and what it really is. And I was watching some Jacques Vallée videos last night, and I was also reading his book, something about dimensions, or dimensional or something. And apparently that put it into my head. But yes, and Jacques Vallée's idea is that uh, aliens and the UFO phenomenon are really influencing us on a social level, and that's the purpose of them being here. We always ask, why are they here? Why now? What are they doing here? But really, what they might be doing is just giving us messages. Everything that happens might be a message. In one of my books that I wrote years ago, recently published, Recipe for Chaos, I go into that a little bit. I don't call it a UFO phenomenon. I just say that whatever made this world gave us all these messages. The messages are, as weird as the moon appears to have a smile on it or a face. Some people see a smile. What, you know, that's a message from our creator, from whatever made this. Whether creator was God or whatever it was, doesn't matter to me. Whether it was aliens, doesn't matter to me. But we can look, it's similar to in psychology, as I learned in my graduate program, that when you're dealing with people, you follow action. You see, what do they actually do? You can say anything you want, but what do they actually do? And that's what you have to watch. And so it comes from that idea, because you can see what was actually done. What do we have here? That's what the creator was like, or that's what the aliens that made us were like. That's what the intelligence that made this entire cosmos possible, that's what it was like. We can learn something about whatever created this by looking at what we have. It's like it's like looking at a painting by Picasso, Monet, or Van Gogh or something, and trying to figure out something about the artist. And you can, and especially over repeated paintings and things, you can see trends, you can see ideas that are repeated and stuff, and start to know something about the artist. But it's the same here in the world. We can look at every single thing in the world and know that something decided about that, and so we can know something about that thing. Anyway, to get to my dream, it was horrific. And I don't really understand why it was so scary now, but I mean, I do. But it was levels of scary, and let me explain. So the dreams, I don't know whether it started. You know how dreams are. At one point, I was with a friend. I don't know who that friend is now. I can't even recall who it was, or if I knew in the dream. I don't think I did. I just knew it was a person that was close to me at some point in my life. It wasn't my brother, so it was a friend. And then later I dreamed of my other friend, David Corallo. So maybe it was David that was with me. I don't really remember. There's somebody that was close to me, somebody I liked, somebody who I respected, and somebody who I thought was smart and had his head together. We were walking up the steps of this huge mountain. It's not a huge mountain, huge set of steps anyway. 1,256 steps that I've climbed over 1,000 times, close to my house here in Thailand. And this was a journey between this guy and myself, my friend and myself, and we were going to see what is it really about this UFO phenomenon. And apparently the answer was at the top of the steps. So we began the journey, and it was a little bit, there was some scary stuff, and I don't remember what it was at first. But we kept pushing through, we're like, this is weird, but let's keep pushing through and see what can we get to the top, So we kept going, we're climbing these steps, and it's getting a little weirder. And the weirdness was more in our heads. It was more as if the phenomenon was playing with our heads and trying to get us to fear what was coming. That's what it was, basically. I remember weird stuff we were seeing flying by us through the wind as we climbed these steps. And the weird stuff was like, skulls, and it was actual skulls from someone's body. But it was not so frequent, and it was something that, it gave us pause, but we were able to continue and keep going up this mountain. But as we did, it got worse and worse. It was as if it was levels. And for some reason, there was a level of 10 in my head, as that's going to be like, the worst thing possible. So what happened as we kept going, as we got into the third level or so, I'm saying third level, I don't really know what it was. In my head, I guess it was like the third level. At least last night, during the dream, that's what it was. And it began to get really bad. And by really bad, I mean I was trying to focus my mind on nothing instead of seeing what was flying by, instead of feeling the fear that was coming. I mean, the sky started to turn to fire, and there were like, just imagine like the worst thing you could imagine, like hailstones and freaking lava raining down like up ahead, and skulls, and then pieces of bodies. Just random like body parts were flying by. We were stepping on them. And I asked my friend, are you still all right? And he's like, I don't know. And then his being afraid, I have chills on my legs now, because I just remembered it. I have goosebumps. Oh, weird. I never have goosebumps on my legs. So I'm asking him, are you afraid? And he's like, he started to waver, and that scared the hell out of me, because he was a tough person. And I was like, I gotta focus on myself and like really like not put this out of my mind, but I can do this thing like it's called a blank mind, like a flatline mind, and it comes from meditation. My mind is in a state where I can just revert back to that really easily now. I can do it right here. But in the dream, it was very difficult to do that, which is totally weird, because here I can do it at the drop of a hat. But in the dream, it was I couldn't really do it. These things flying by, this this fear that was building, that was mounting, was really strong enough that it was starting to inhibit my ability to do it. And that sucked, because then I was forced to face the fear. I was forced to feel the fear and feel the craziness of it. And so we kept going, but we kept going slower. When we got to around 4th level, and in my mind, this is about the step 357 or so at the temple, at the steps where I climb. And it just became, it was a stalemate between my ability to clear my mind and make a flat mind and ignore this stuff, and the absolute mayhem that was taking place around us, with shit flying by. It was dark. I forgot to say, it was, pitch black, but there was like weird light in the air, and there was sometimes it was red flashes like from the lava, and sometimes it was fire in the sky, and sometimes it was the moon peeking through the clouds that were lighting up the area. And man, the fear factor just ramped up considerably right there, and we were only at about level 4. At this point, I woke up, and I was covered with, I mentioned the chicken skin on my legs and stuff, but my entire body was chilled, like I had been standing in the freezing cold, rain, and just shivering. I mean, I was like, when I woke up, it was like a shock, like, holy crap, But what I was thinking was that the phenomenon maybe is showing me something now, and maybe it's showing me something about its quality now. But it may well be something about, whenever everybody's saying consciousness, it may well be something about that. It may be something about the ability to control us through fear. It may have complete ability to control us through fear. And we do a lot of it to ourselves, or maybe we think we are. Maybe it's actually them doing it as well. But, my mom used to sit in front of the AM radio and listen to talk show, and the guy's just talking about all these things that we should fear. America is like Fear Nation. And but there's millions and millions of people that sit in front of their radios and listen to people tell them about how scary the world is and stuff. When I moved to Thailand, I was here for about 10 years before, I realized that it was happening in America, because I had moved away and wasn't part of it at all. But, I realized my mom sits there and listens to that crap over every day, and that's what interests her, and I guess that's what keeps her in line, right? That's what keeps millions, maybe billions of people in line, is the fear of how bad it could get if they change something, or the fear of loss, literally fear of everything. Anyway, so this dream felt to me as if it came from somewhere else. As I said, I don't dream. I never dream anything fearful. I don't fear anything, really. So this dream came out of nowhere and was the strongest dream I have ever had in my life. I'm up at 4, literally 4 in the morning. It's 4:15 now. I don't have my watch. It's 4:25. I don't get up and do videos about my dreams. I'm usually too tired, right? This woke me right the hell up, and I was like, wow. And so I tried to do something else for a little bit to get it out of my head, and I couldn't. I just thought, I'll just make a video about it. So So the phenomenon, I imagine, can control our dreams. It can put dreams in our head. Um, in psychology, I learned that dreams are really like a resolution phase to your day. If there's something that you didn't confront during the day that would help you, uh, adjust in the world, you may dream something about it so that you can see a different alternative for what you did or what you didn't do, and see how it might have played out if you did something different. And then it will help you, the dream will help you feel better about something. If you didn't do the right thing, like say you didn't stick up for somebody who then got the shit beat out of them, and in your dream there will be some resolution to that makes more sense, that you actually stood up for the person or whatever, and then everything was all right, something like that. But so there's that, and that may be coming just from us, right? That may be coming just from our minds, which may have been made up by aliens anyway, right? But there seems to be this other, why that dream came to me in my head doesn't really make any sense, except that I had been thinking about, over the course of last few months especially, about the weirdness of things happening at the Skinwalker Ranch, and how many of these people that are coming out in the UFO community about, and not, I'm talking about like Luis Elizondo, and my mind isn't working that well right now, Hal Puthoff and people like that, Jacques Vallée, but people are talking about demonology and the ability to control the mind, and how the mind plays such a big part of this, and how consciousness plays such a big part of this. And it appears to be that they can influence our mind during dreams. That's what it appears. Here's some more evidence for that. Before I dreamed that dream, and as I was sitting there thinking about that, I realized I had another dream as well, and must have been just before it, I guess. I was in a Lamborghini. I never really wanted a Lamborghini. I guess I did when I was a kid. But I was in a Lamborghini. It was nighttime. And I picked up my friend Dave. And we were driving around and having fun. It was something like exciting. Different from my life here, I guess. It's not, it's exciting. I go to catch king cobras and stuff. But it's not exciting like I don't drive fancy cars or anything like that. And so I picked up Dave, and then, I don't know, somehow we decided we were going to go on a date. And so I met with this girl who I'd called a couple times from my phone. I could see it in my phone. And I thought, it's weird that I had her number in there. I don't even remember who she was. And then when she came to Dave's house to meet us, and then we drove around in the Lamborghini, and then eventually we drove to watch a movie. And then I realized, or I don't know if I realized, but something made me remember that, I have my wife at home here in Thailand. This girl that I was out with, I didn't remember her, don't know her. She wasn't pretty, she wasn't funny or interesting or anything. She's just a girl. She's just something that the dream created, to put in the template. But yeah, there I was, like, thinking, wow, you're really cheating on her, because you're gonna have to hide this, though you did nothing with her. You went to the movie with your friend Dave and stuff. And that was really weird. Now, I don't cheat on my wife here, so I don't know. I don't have those feelings and stuff, because I never have to worry about it. She picks up my phone. I never have the slightest care. There's nothing on there she's going to see. She might see some crazy stuff, but it's nothing about that. So why did I have that dream? Why did that fear come into my mind? It doesn't really make sense. But if there is something that's out there controlling our, not only our waking reality, being awake here and experiencing the reality that we do, but it also can influence our dreams. They're in absolute control of us already. There's no real question. Doesn't matter if we come to the idea that, hey, aliens are around us, or whatever we think, whatever our conclusions are, don't matter at all, because they basically decide our conclusions through fear. They basically mold us and push us any direction that they choose. I think my nose is running. Through fear. And though I thought I had no fear, I go into the jungle here and spend 5 hours a night, sometimes in the middle of the jungle in Thailand. And, you hear weird noises and stuff, but I'm really not afraid. There's no animals here that could get me in this particular spot, so I'm not really afraid of that. I'm not afraid of people. But this gave me the fear of my life. And it made it worse that it was the temple steps that I climbed often, and it felt so familiar to me. And now here's this, I have chills again. Here's this storm from hell, building and building as I climb higher and higher, and body parts are flying by me and stuff, like bloody body parts. I mean, I don't know how to explain the grossness of it all, but it was just getting more gross and more, it sure wasn't ridiculous. There was nothing funny about it. It was just ramping up to a level so fast, around level 4, and that my mind, I guess, couldn't deal with it anymore. If we would have went to 5, whatever that was trying to scare me would have won. Oh, I forgot to say that as we hit level 4, my friend was screaming and quivering, his voice was ah, like a baby. I mean, it was he had totally lost it, by the time we got there. And that was man, I got chills again. And that was really building my own fear. When people around you start to get scared, and you're the last one left, it may not take long for you to become scared as well. And this is such a foreign thing for me. There's nothing that I'm scared of here. So really a horrible dream. I mean, the worst dream ever, probably in my entire life. I can't remember anything weirder or worse. So do they control our dreams as well? That's going to be my guess. Are these sightings, are all of these sightings, you have to read some Jacques Vallée stuff, because he really goes into it in depth as far as cultural fairy tales and things like that about little green men in England and Ireland, and what he says, how he relates that they're similar, these fairy tales about little green men, and then also little green men coming down from somewhere else. It all seems kind of plausible. Yeah, it's still fairy tale in my head, but it just, as you have more and more evidence for something, and as you know something, I know something about this idea that maybe the aliens are just influencing us socially now, and maybe they're pushing us toward how they want us to think, how they want us to develop, how they want us to be. you start to see like more evidence for something like that. And this dream was just like a kick in the head as far as that. It's like, I guess I didn't want to believe before that it was something to do with like a negative thing in consciousness, because how the hell do you, like, how would you fight that? I actually have something I can fight that with this just weird ability to just clear my mind completely and not, I can sit here and stop the mind from thinking is what it is. In like 4th grade, I had a teacher that asked the class, okay, can anybody, we're going to do an exercise. Let's just sit here and try not to think of something for a minute. She said, ready, go. And, you know, I went for a few seconds. And she said, okay, just start raising your hand if you started to think something. You know, and she's putting thoughts in her head. So hands went up all around the room, and mine went up as well. But I almost got the idea of it as I did do it for a few seconds. And then she said, okay, we're going to do it again. Let's just try for like 10 seconds or something like that. And so she did it again, and I was able to do it for 10 seconds. And she didn't believe me, of course. You know, she wouldn't, I don't think that she wanted anybody to be able to do it at all, right? But for some reason I was able to do it. Even then, I couldn't have done it for longer. Today I can sit here probably for hours and not think something. And it's a super, not strange to me, but it must be strange to other people to think that I can sit here and not do anything, not think anything. I mean, it would be a super weird state, right? So it's weird that I have that. It's weird that in the dream I was fighting with that ability to try to push that evil stuff out of my mind. Not push it, but just to go back to my state. I was just trying to revert back to that state. And the fear and the craziness of my friend screaming and crying like a baby, and I really started to feel the fear. And that's only level 4, supposedly. Well, you know, what's it like at level 10? So I hope it isn't something like this. I really hope to God it isn't something like this, that is evil, that has anything to do with fear. If you read the Skinwalker book that was put out recently with George Knapp, and I forget the other guy, it just seems like fear. It seems like a fear games. You know, it seems like this thing enjoys playing with us, and maybe it isn't that it enjoys it. Maybe it's just showing us we control you through fear. Maybe it's just telling us that, look, I control you with fear. Look, I can work on your mind and make you fear. And that's scary in itself, right? Coming from a Christian background, which I completely dropped in my early 20s, but you know, we were told about demons and letting bad thoughts into your head, and letting the influence of demons into your head, and how if you give them a little ground to stand on in there, that eventually they can own you. You know, they can do what they want with you. And you know, there's exorcisms and stuff like that in the church, which I've always thought complete nonsense. But man, it sucks to actually think that that kind of thing can be going on. Anyway, that's it. I'm a little bit tired, and I'm not going to go back to sleep. I'm just going to think more about the dream and see if there's anything else I can learn, or that I can remember about it. All right, cheers then.